Say you're trying to figure out student loans because you're going through divorce. Divorce can obviously be either kind of a happy recovering time in life, or it can be a sad time in life, and whatever it is, student loans and having student loans certainly can make that more complicated. So here's a couple things to think about. If you were filing separately for taxes because you were married and maybe married to somebody that didn't have student loan debt, it might make sense to switch repayment strategies, because you could go from, say, income-based repayment if you were not eligible for pay-as-you-earn to revised pay-as-you-earn, and potentially go from paying 15% of your income to paying 10% of your income. That's one thing to consider. There's other legal ramifications to consider as well. Typically, when you pay down student loan debt for your spouse, then you do not receive any kind of remedy for that in terms of division of assets. One example in particular is this person helped pay off his spouse's $200,000 of student loan debt, but that didn't get factored into how the assets were split. It was just split right down the middle, as if this person hadn't contributed it at all. Also, if you have student loan debt, in general, your spouse is not responsible for it. Now, that might be different if that spouse is co-signed, but if you do not have any co-signed, situation set up, then the student loan debt's going to stay with you, or it's going to stay with your ex if it's your ex's student loan debt. In terms of trying to figure out what the next step should be, I think anybody needs to have 6 months of expenses in the bank. So if you're not already there, you definitely want to get there first. Also, with credit card debt, divorces are a very frequent cause of lots and lots of credit card debt. And a lot of people, I think, do go through bankruptcy during divorce. So if you're able to stay out of bankruptcy and get your credit card debt paid off if you have any, and get at least $10,000 in the bank and hopefully up to 6 months of your expenses, then you're going to be financially stable for the future. If you have considerations with your student loan debt that have changed because you're married, that's something very important to consider. In some cases, you might have gone from a couple that needed to pay off your student loan debt to, as a single person, actually benefiting from going for student loan forgiveness. Another factor to consider is if you're going to get married again in the future, then you want to be cognizant of getting legally married versus spiritually married, because if you get legally married, that has implications for your student loan repayment, whereas if you're spiritually married and do not turn in the marriage certificate, then it does not. So certainly people that have been our clients that have gone through a divorce and get remarried, they do love the idea about getting spiritually married instead of legally married for maybe multiple reasons, but particularly because of student loan debt. Obviously, all of this is your decision in terms of deciding how you want to manage things. And if you have questions or you want guidance, feel free to reach out to us, help@studentloanplanner.com. We've consulted with thousands of borrowers and are helping people figure out 6 figures of student loan debt every day, and would love to help you get back on the right foot if you have a lot of questions about your student loans or, potential exit student loans after a divorce.